What's up, folks? Casual Dad here with another Warhammer Combat Cards Warlord guide, and today we're finally going to go ahead and talk about Abaddon the Despoiler. He is indeed Abaddon, a bad guy. That official pronunciation came out not too long ago, and it's kind of fun to play with it, but it's also, you still trip over it a bit. But anyway, as the latest Supreme Commander, Abaddon comes in with 92 squad points, putting him tied with Ghazghkull, and right between Call and a little bit above the Primarchs and their 100 points. He's kind of a fun one. It is funny. I've always thought of Abaddon and Ghazghkull kind of as very similar warlords because they're both bruisers. They both have pretty much always had the same two linked traits, and you see the same here, with Abaddon also has Fear and Inspiring Presence. Comes in with a pretty gnarly stat line, somewhat low hit points, but that's buffed because of his Fear. And his attack values are somewhat lower too, especially compared to the other stuff around him, especially since there's very little way to buff that. But again, on top of the Inspiring Presence, that will be quite a bit higher, especially since he's legendary, of course, like all the Supreme Commanders, so he can go up to rank 4 Inspiring Presence if you get him to max level, which takes a minute. I really love the artwork on this one. Abaddon is the poster child of the game, so it always felt a little bit unfortunate that his previous form was a little bit behind and maybe a little bit lackluster. And to see the new model in a Supreme Commander format just is a nice, it's a cool symbol of how the game is growing, and I love to see the guy. But let's get to, this is a really interesting warlord, so it's taken me a while to kind of wrap my head around how he works and to actually put this together. So we'll tuck into it. The big thing is his ability, and I'm going to explain this a little bit more clearly when we actually play the game, because it is long and kind of tough to understand, but once you see it in play, it's a lot more straightforward. So just at the start of your turn, 2 of your cards at random increase all attack stats by 20%. That goes until your following turn. And the third card, or any remaining card if you don't have 3 on the board, loses 10% of its base wounds, just takes damage, as damage. Abaddon himself cannot be damaged by this effect. So if he's on the board and your 3 cards are there, no matter what happens, he will never take the 10% damage, but he can receive the 10% buff and give something else the damage. So it's very random because chaos is fickle. And I really love how this works, right? So this is actually basically on par with Trajan's damage buff, but Trajan's goes away just consistently, like you get below half points goes away. But also, of course, because Abaddon has given himself fully to the Chaos Gods, the attack buff doesn't go away. Lasts whole game, and just like Trajan, it does stack with Inspiring Presence, your readies, whatever else you have on the board. But because Chaos is fickle, it's random, and then also because there's a cost to selling your soul to the Chaos Gods, there is actual damage here. So I really love how this is so chaosy, it's not even funny. And especially with Abaddon himself, there's this whole thing where he's very aggressive, very dangerous. He's this lodestone of chaos. The Chaos Gods wouldn't hurt him, hence that he can't be damaged by the effect. But there's always a cost to his benefits to his armies, and he will sacrifice any number of his sort of flunkies to accomplish his goals. So, yeah. There is a final line to this ability that I waited to cover, and that's whenever an opponent's card is destroyed, all of your cards ready. So there's kind of 3 parts to this, but it's because the first part is so complicated. But that part is a really dramatic piece not to be overstated, because every single time you get a kill, no matter whose turn it is, no matter what's going on, all of your cards ready immediately. So if you still have 3 cards on the board, that's 3 readies. Now we're going to take a little quick look at deck building here too, and then I'm going to jump into it. Before that though, I wanted to highlight the artwork. Like the Blackstone Fortress, the cracked Blackstone Fortress, the lava peeking through with all the chaos, the haunted ghosts here, and all 4 of the Chaos God marks on the bottom. The little artistic touches in this card are phenomenal, and it really is suitable for the model and the character himself. So let's look at some decks, and this is my first time getting to show off on a video the 3 different deck builds. And so we got a bunch of new cards, a couple cards rolled out with Abaddon himself that are ranged. So we've got a little bit more options to do the ranged chaos deck, and I just wanted to try it out. So I've got this here. I honestly can't recommend that, so I'm not going to demonstrate it. See deck 2, and it's a little bit of the same actually. So let me jump to deck 3. This is the one where I actually did kind of really start understanding the Warlord and kind of really see where this is going. So I've got a mix of Berserk, I've got Regen, I've got a little bit of Fear, Furious Charge, Death Blow, Endless to kind of fill it up, and then more Furious Charge. So it's really a melee focused deck. And one thing I really want to highlight here is all of my readies are the same. Every single card in here has a melee ready. Because what I was finding is when you get the kill, Abaddon's ability to do all of your readies gives you a huge momentum in the following turn. But is lost a little bit if you have mixed readies. If any of these were debuffs or if any of them were ranged buff, it really sort of doesn't have the same impact. And being a 90-point Supreme Commander, if you're in the standard 200 deck point ladder, you really, really need your points to count and be very efficient. So I don't really like... I have not had much success mixing readies, but I've had a lot of success making them consistent. So that's been a really interesting deck building challenge, going through and being like, well, I want to put this, but it's got a melee debuff. So I really have enjoyed that level of like weirdness to the Warlord. It's made him extra fun to play. And also similar to, I recently did the Guilliman, whatever, rowboat. I recently redid his guide, and one of the key things I highlighted about him is because he's expensive, you have to be really efficient with your points and use cheaper cards to fill out the deck. Abaddon is the same. He's one of those warlords that you put in kind of lesser cards, just like Greyfax and Guilliman, and you use that warlord's ability to kind of get the most out of them. So it's really cool seeing him like supercharge some flunkies and some lesser used cards. Now, the last piece in here, and I'm actually going to jump into the game to see what we can do. I'll play 2 games. We'll see how they go, and then we'll maybe keep going, or we'll stop there. We'll see. But the reason I'm leaning on Furious Charge so hard is I mentioned that those readies happen whenever the kill happens. It's real time, right away. So if you manage to pull out a Furious Charge and it kills an opposing card on their turn, you get the bonus before your turn even happens, right? So let me kind of talk through that a little bit. Let's see if I can actually trigger it. Oh man, this is not a great matchup, so we'll see how this goes. Excuse me, and he's going first with the chicken, with the recently buffed Ahriman. And I am laddering with Chaos, so this could be a brutal matchup. Oh, let's see. I'm going to shoot him. But here, you can see the visual trigger where you've got that red glow for the cards that did get the attack buff, and then the unglowing one is the one that did get the take the damage. So that's unfortunate to hear. I immediately, my first thought with Abaddon was to go ahead and try Berserk, because then if your cards do take that Berserk damage, it's not as bad because you get a benefit from it in that attack buff. Ooh, okay, so here, check this out. So we drop this guy here, and he should have enough melee damage to actually... You know what? Let's just live dangerously. Bring it on. There are a lot of cards still in that deck, so they're all probably going to be squishy. But so there we go. Got a kill, and then immediately got the buff. Oh, I love that this is on the recording for this, because Chaos truly is fickle. So Abaddon is in there and just took the damage from Bolt of Change. So Tzeentch is displeased with Abaddon for going after his chosen son. But yeah, and now they're all going to ready twice here. So ready, ready, ready. Ready, ready, ready. And so look at that buff that I just built up in a turn where I did a melee attack. So he's extremely good with a single attack type where you focus on that and go through it. And you can see that Fear, even rank 2, really helping kind of save him here. And just do crazy amounts of damage. Buff, buff, buff. Buff, buff, buff. Buff, buff, buff. Now we'll see Ahriman himself drop, and he may be able to one-shot Abaddon. We'll see. We'll see. Not full psychers on the board. No. Okay, so I may be able to pull this out. Yeah, there we go. Whew, okay, so first fight, brutal, quick, and I'm sitting here with 30 hit points. Now, I've only got level 3 Abaddon, so he's definitely going to get scarier later, and several of the cards in here are kind of low level, so you can kind of see how he does get better later, but he's every bit as much seat of your pants as the original Abaddon, which I love. I love that about the original Abaddon, and so it's very cool to see that in this one as well. Just to kind of talk through, well, let's actually do another one, and I'll see about talking through some of the points here, but that you can cheese Furious Charge and Precision Shot that well to charge up the attack you're about to make is super good in kind of building up that momentum. So it's like that little nudge to start rolling down the hill to give yourself an offensive momentum where you start just killing cards every turn. Oh, no, okay. One thing I forgot to mention that I'll see if I can highlight here. We'll see if Abaddon hits the table again. And I'm at 2.9k, I think. I'm playing against 2.9k for sure. I'll probably lose that. We'll see. And we're up against the Swarmlord, and Abaddon is a hilariously good play against the Swarmlord, or they kind of counter each other, because as long as I'm getting kills, I am still... So I'll do melee. If I get a kill in that round, which I didn't this time, but if in turns where I do, I will counteract, and there we go, boom, boom. I'll counteract the Swarmlord's debuff, and so I am still... Ooh, so I am assuming that middle card is going to move. So I'm still attacking with a decent melee buff, even though I was just debuffed. Okay, and there again, the graphic is really quick, but you see the cards that have the attack bonus, and that's to both of their attack stats. So this guy here with the buff is attacking for almost 30 melee, which is really good for a 4-point card. Bum, bum, bum. And then we are, of course, so you have to be really strategic about this too, though. So I'm setting up more of my Furious Charges so that, bummer. So in case you missed it there, the attack buff and then the random damage of the one card that didn't receive that attack buff killed it. So that's unfortunate. And there doesn't matter what attack type you use, as long as you get the kill, you do receive the, oh, come on. This is a nasty deck. It's heavy Psychers, but then switches in the middle to be other stuff. Boom, melee buff. And then I'm going to get that double, I'm going to get that back double. Melee buff, which really, again, helps supercharge your cheaper cards, which you have to use to fill a deck with a Warlord this expensive. Oh. I'm glad I'm not up against Ahriman again, because those random damage pieces would really cause some havoc. And now I gotta go toe-to-toe with the freaking Swarmlord. Okay. But luckily I'm playing Chaos Marine, so I have a couple range shots I can use to clear those shields, but this is going to get bad real quick. Got the shield, so maybe I've got this. And then, of course, there's only 2 cards. If you only have 2 cards on the board, both of them will get the damage buff. Do I have it? Oh, look at that. But man, do they swing hard. So the 20% buff, plus Inspiring Presence, plus all those readies, that one-shots the Swarmlord. Like, this is... It's pretty great. Now, I'm getting very, very lucky here. That was... Oof, man. They're quick games, so I'll play one more just to go ahead and show it. I wanted to be sure to get this guy out and go ahead and show him off because he is in the store for just a couple more days if you do want to pick him up. I was excited to be able to do a giveaway for this guy. I probably will not get another Abaddon giveaway. I'm not going to say for sure I won't because who knows, but there's a passing chance they'll be able to do another giveaway at some point down the road, so we'll see. But he is still in the store if you want to pick him up. If you're a big Abaddon fan, you run a lot of Black Legion, some of the packs he comes with, I believe, will also include other bodyguards. I am really sorry that I didn't get this guide out before or during the Skulls week. It just wasn't in the cards. I just wasn't going to be able to pull that off. But hopefully this is helpful, especially as people find this later. Who am I up against? Who's that? Oh, that's going to be rough. Okay. And it is a bummer that I have so many chaff cards in here that really don't give me much. Oof. And this guy just keeps taking the damage, and he should be able to make up for that with the regen, but we'll see. Yeah, this is, oh god, Yarick. And this is an interesting matchup. I love that we're seeing these different matchups, because Yarick is, of course, a great counterpart to Abaddon, because his ability is very similar, except your cards die to give you the buffs. And the buffs are larger. Ooh, that hurt. Abaddon himself on the board. Here we go. Oh god, I'm going to feed him such a massive buff for this. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. But that should let me comfortably wipe his board and get more buffs too. Oh, he's going to shoot me hard, and this is where I really wish I had more of that fear. But I will be hitting back extremely hard, and I took out that tank, so there's probably... Oh god. Oh god, Abaddon by himself. All right. Nope. We'll just ready on that one. Something I haven't highlighted. We'll see if I have time to... I didn't have time to highlight it. Ah, okay, we'll play one more. Sorry, I keep forgetting to do it. The thing I want to highlight is that I absolutely love the extra portrait, like the artwork on, and I don't talk about the artwork on the cards enough because it's photographs of painted models from the Heavy Metal Studio Games Workshop. They send out the actual artwork for these, and that's what's used in the actual card art. But there's extra embellishments, right? So there's the frame around the card. There's the actual graphic effects of the abilities on the card. And I love the little glow effect of fear, but I love it even more with the extra glow of Inspiring Presence. So that layering of Inspiring Presence and fear on this, plus the like red haze you can get from getting the damage buff on Abaddon himself. I'll call it out when Abaddon's on the board here before I do something dumb. Okay, so this time I do have initiative against Necrons. Very nice. Yes, that red glow. Very nice. This should be a fairly comfortable win. Watch me say that and then embarrassingly lose. With the kind of razor's edge play of these Abaddon decks, this is a problem. A heavy shielded card is definitely not what I want to see, because it takes enough to get through that I'm going to be bleeding bodyguards before I'm able to get it down. Wow, that's just a stout... Oh, no, that's bad. All right. You got this. I'm gonna Abaddon himself. Brum, brum, brum. I'll throw this guy in here. But yeah, so just to show it like that, the purple fear with the inspiring presence, with the extra frame of Supreme Commanders, I just love visually how that looks, especially on a computer, but also on a phone. On the phone, there's much smaller screen, and there's less to distract you from it, so you're just kind of looking at it. But on the computer, you can really get a good look at it. Oh man, okay, we got inspiring oh yeah. And so there you saw that those two got the ability, so no one took any damage, which is great. So it's another case where you are a little bit incentivized to put Abaddon on the board as early as possible. Oh, beautiful. So I got, oh yeah, board wipe. A board wipe, which also means my cards will ready. I'll get a melee buff 9 times, which should actually be enough to comfortably punch through these shields, especially since he's low enough level to only have 2. Bye! But yeah, so you can see how level is really making a difference here. Both that Swarmlord and that Trazen were relatively low level, so that really was a gimme. If they'd had 1 more shield each, it would have been a much tighter game, and they probably could have pulled it out. But yeah, so what is that? 4 games, 3-1. But lucky matchups, because you run a thin, low point deck, the matchmaking does kind of favor you a little bit, so you get somewhat easier matchups with Abaddon. But I wouldn't bet on that too much. So anyway, that is the guide for Abaddon. Again, he is in the store at least for a brief time now. Yep, right here, including some more Chaos cards that can come along with him. If you really, really want him, that'll give you a level. I think that's level 2. And then the thing is, once you have any copies of him, then you will get him in random card draws from your packs and rewards too. So that gives you the opportunity to load him up too. Oh man, look at all these new Votann cards. Whoa, cool. I've been waiting for those. And we got a Votann campaign now too. Awesome. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully this was fun. Abaddon's one of the cooler warlords coming out, and I really wanted to take some time to really talk about how it works. So I talked up Furious Charge a lot. One of the reasons I've gone heavy melee and Furious Charge is, of course, it's chaos. And the melee is really strong, especially on my higher leveled cards. But then also, Abaddon himself has melee ready. So if you really want that ready synergy, you want to go with the melee. If you want to mix it up, of course you can. I do find that if Abaddon hits the table, because it's such a small deck, he usually has to do some work, which is kind of great. So you do want to lean into his strength. He's going to be on the board for a while, so that synergy with that melee ready is really important. But you can try a ranged deck, or you can try a very thick Berserk deck. Chaos does have quite a few cards that have, let me see this. Chaos has a ton of Berserk cards with fairly high hit points. Also, hey, major props for getting this guy. Good job. We got those 8,888,888 skulls or cards killed in the last couple days. All of these guys up here are really strong pieces because they're very cheap and they have high hit points for the cost. So look at this guy. You're talking Inspiring Presence plus probably a 20% buff from Abaddon, or they take damage and they get the attack buff. So they don't really lose anything no matter what. So of course, Abaddon works really well with these 3 cheapest, like highest benefit Berserk cards, which is cool because you never see those cards because they're not very good. But yeah, so I'm gonna let's play and see how this fit. I'm gonna take out one of these range decks and go all Berserk and see how it goes. So we'll put on these cheapest guys. I've got all of these guys at fairly high level. I look for this guy in the card shop and throw gold at him because I'm trying to get him leveled up, and it takes a while because he's a newer card and it took a minute. So I've still got 71 points. Nice. Do I put you in there? No, not at level 3. Tempting though. Look at those hit points. Love it. I mean, it costs 38 points though, so let's try you in here. And it's nice to have the ranged attack, even if again you're not really doing it. And then just oh yeah, my guy's not high enough level there. Okay, we'll throw this guy in here. So now it doesn't matter what is hit. Every single card I have in here has Berserk. So we'll do one more. One more game. Expect to lose. But the great part about this is that if I do take whichever card takes the damage from the Chaos's Fickle damage, they will get a benefit from it. And again, Tolmaron, skinny Tolmaron deck. Ick. This is going to be a really bad matchup. All right, we'll throw my cheapest thing over here. This thing is going to murder me. Boop. Look at all that Berserk. Oh, look at all that range damage. Oh, God. But my hits back are pretty good. Can I stand up to that? No. Whatever I put in front of him is going to die. So we'll put in the weakest one. Now, I really have to make a difference against these guys very quickly. Nice. That'll really help. So I get some big readies. And I took one out. All I have to do is pull Tolmor on himself before all my stuff dies. Oh god. And again, whatever goes up against that, oh god, whatever goes up against that is going to die. So this will be just Tolmaron himself, so I really have to hope that Abaddon should be enough to take him out. 149, because I'll shoot back. Okay, I should have it. I get the triple ready. All my stuff is going to die, but I will shoot back. Oh yeah, for 53, very nice. And then also get the melee buff, so I should have that. Whew, man, seat of your pants game there. And again, Abaddon had to be on the board and do the work himself, which is very suitable for the Warlord. So I really like how that keeps being how these games end. And it's mostly because he's so expensive and you have to build a thin deck around him, and Chaos doesn't have that much durability. So anyway, that's it. I'll leave it there. Yeah, cool Warlord. Enjoy him. Hey, have fun. And assuming it still works, I believe it was either Skull or Skulls. I think it's Skulls. If you go up here and do your redeem a code and do Skulls, try Skull and Skulls. I don't think the letter case matters. Could be all lowercase, all uppercase. That should let you redeem a code that will give you these cosmetics here. It'll give you the very cool graphics to go along with the season, assuming that's still active, because it's very, very cool, and I was glad to get that. And that's something all players can have. So anyway, that's it. Till next time.